you, Amina. Now, before I say anything, can I just check that I'm being heard okay by everybody?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, then there are real people there. I can see. Very good. Well done. Thank you. Well, I'm speaking to you from my home in Holyhead in North Wales, and it's sunny here today, which is a great omen because it isn't often at this time of the year. And I can't quite see the weather up your end, but it's a great day anyway, whatever the weather, anywhere. And I'm going to start by saying something really rather unusual for an author. I write books, and an author hates it when a book goes out of date. You know, my book is out of date. Oh no, that's a disaster. People don't like it. But in this particular case, I am delighted to say that one of my books is now out of date. Thrilled to bits. Why? Well, let me show you. This is the book. It's called Tales of the Linguistically Unexpected. And it came out a couple of years ago. And I went around the country and around the world over the years, and I've been pulling together unexpected bits and pieces that I came across. And one of them was this place. You'll recognize it, some of you, perhaps all of you. A little place in Newcastle at the top of a shopping arcade. A very unexpected place to find a multilingual library. And this is now totally out of date. And I'm delighted. Because, of course, you are sitting in the updated version. So a multilingual library was, for me, a very unexpected encounter, I have to say. I have, of course, seen bits and pieces of multilingual libraries around the world, but nothing of the vision and scale that you were anticipating in Newcastle and now on a greater scale. And what a wonderful sight it is to see in Gateshead. And when I was thinking about what to say this afternoon, I was reflecting on over in my library here, which you see a little bit of behind me. I've got quite a large collection of people who have said things about libraries over the years. You know, most authors at some point or another, most people at some point or another have a little think about a library. And the most famous ones say things that are worth quoting. And so I just pulled down from my shelf yesterday afternoon a few quotations, which I thought I would mention now because they're not good without an addendum. So, for example, there was a famous Victorian Canadian scientist. His name was George Dawson. He died at the turn of the last century, but he had a great deal to say about libraries. And this is one of the quotes which sticks in my mind. A great library, he said, contains the diary of the human race. A great library contains the diary of the human race. Yes, George, but only if it's bilingual or multilingual. You can't have a diary of the human race that is just monolingual. And at the time, of course, libraries were thought of, this is Victorian times, but were thought of as being monolingual libraries. You know, there'd be a library in England for English and a library in France for French and so on. But the concept of a multilingual library was just beyond the conception of Victorian writers. So that was one quote. And then I found another Victorian author, a poet this time, and a journalist. His name was John Alfred Langford. You may not have encountered him. His poetry was not some of the most famous from that area, but his journalism was very widely read. And this is what he had to say about libraries. He said, "The only true equalizers in the world are books, and the only treasure house open to all comers is a library." The only treasure house open to all comers is a library. Well, yes, I agree, but once again I say, but only if it is multilingual. To all comers? Well, who's coming to your library? All comers. That's the whole point, from all over the place. It's got to be multilingual if it's going to be a treasure house for everyone. So that's John Langford. And then I was rummaging over there and I found this one from Malcolm Forbes. Now, do you remember Forbes magazine, the publisher of Forbes magazine? Big business magazine, especially known in the United States, but everywhere else too. He's a 20th century publisher. He died in 1990, I think. And this is what he had to say about libraries. The richest person in the world, in fact, all the riches in the world, couldn't provide you with anything like the endless, incredible loot available at your local library. I love that. The endless, incredible loot available at your local library. But my point once again, that loot is immensely more valuable if it is a multilingual library. And then my fourth example, I'm just giving you four out of, I could go on all afternoon, but still, you've got other things to do. The famous American astronomer, Carl Sagan, S-A-G-A-N, you must have heard of him. He did so much for astronomy. He has a slightly longer quote, and I'm going to say it slowly because every little bit of it is exactly right. He says, the library connects us with the insight and knowledge painfully extracted from nature of the greatest minds that ever were, with the best teachers drawn from the entire planet and from all our history. They instruct us without tiring, and they inspire us to make our own contribution to the collective knowledge of the human species. I think, he says, the health of our civilization, the depth of our awareness about the underpinnings of our culture, and our concern for the future can all be tested by how well we support our libraries. Oh, yes, Carl, how well we support our libraries. But did you notice? He said in the middle, the best teachers drawn from the entire planet. Yes, he's one of the first to actually recognize that it has to be the entire planet that feeds a library. So how well we support our libraries, and especially our multilingual libraries. Well, he uses the plural form. Did you notice? Our libraries, plural. Yes. I wonder if he anticipated how many libraries would be closed in the course of the 20th and early 21st century. But he'd be delighted, I know, to know that there was a new one coming along. Well, come along now, past tense, here we are. A multilingual library, singular. Oh, I so want that plural to come back. I want multilingual libraries all over the place. And I know Amina and the others are already sort of putting out feelers and doing all sorts of things. I do hope we're going to be able to use that plural really genuinely one day. But have you noticed my quotations? I chose a scientist, a poet, a businessman, and an astronomer. And I could have chosen a dozen more, but the point is they are from all walks of life. And so the thing that comes out of any library experience, in my view, is this universality of subject matter expressed through the universality of languages. Well, as many as we can get hold of course. There are something like 6,000 or a bit more than 6,000 languages in the world at the moment. few of them are dying out, of course, which is so sad, but still, there's quite a lot of language out there. And Amina is doing very, very well to get as many languages into the library as she has done so far, but there's plenty more to be got. And I'm quite sure that over the next few hundred years, well, decades, well, weeks, we'll get more and more coming into that beautiful library of yours. So, I look forward. Amina, I want to update this picture. I need a nice, lovely picture of your new library, and then I can make a new edition of this book, and then it will be nicely up to date. And as soon as that comes through, I will do it, because I self-published this, you see. So I can change it any time I like. And a new photograph in here is going to be second to none. So today, what can I say apart from congratulating you, Amina, for all? I mean, I know exactly how much toil and trouble and frustration and impatience and patience and everything that has gone into the stages between Newcastle and Gateshead. You've kept me very much in the picture, and I so admire the effort and the energy that you've put into this. And of course, not just you, because thanks to others that you're in touch with, and Beth here and everyone, we've got a launch today that it's going to go down in the history of Gateshead, I think, and beyond, because of course the recording that we'll make today is going to be heard and seen by, I hope, an increasing number of people all over the place, and they will add support to this library venture of yours. So I'll turn my camera off in a little while, but I'll be watching. I'll be listening. I'll be listening to what's going on in your part of the world. I wish you all every success, and thank you for being there this afternoon. I only wish I could be with you in person, but I can't. But you're going to have a great day, and the library's going to be wonderful. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, David, and I will say that you are an absolute model patron, and it's true. I have been writing to you really often, just telling you problems and challenges, as they are called these days. You've always been so incredibly supportive. Every question, like out of the blue, I say 2 other languages have a glottal stop, and then I get a very informative email back, which is great to know you're there and with the serious questions. Makes me send you really stupid.
My pleasure. My pleasure.